Previously on Hunting with Tripler.
All right, I'll clean this up.
I don't want to hear it, Leonardo.
Here's everything we got from the storage locker.
What is happening, folks? Welcome to Hunting with Tripler. My name is Nick. I am a part-time reseller out of Southern California. I am one of a million resellers across the country trying to make some money, and I've got a YouTube channel dedicated to showing you how to make some profit. I'm like the only channel on YouTube that really tries to help you make money. Seriously, there is no other channel that does that. And in today's episode, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look back at a huge bulk purchase that I made of some vintage Star Wars items that really appeared to look like just a bunch of junk. In fact, they were in parts, some of them were broken, missing a whole bunch of items, and you just kind of looked at it going, who would ever buy that? I did. Because the market fluctuates on vintage Star Wars, and the parts market, believe it or not, can also be just as hot as items that are complete. So today, let's check it out, let's see how we did, and as an added bonus, I'm gonna show you how I ship off a couple of those items that have hard plastic pieces, easy to break. So sit back and relax and enjoy today's episode.
I collect so many things. Would you like to share this journey with me? I will show you the prizes I got today. So come along with me, come on and join in the chase. Yeah.
The first thing I'd like to do here is take you back in time. I want to show you the footage and show you what I was seeing as I was looking at all this stuff and kind of going, man, I mean, first of all, I didn't know what he was going to sell it for, but I want you to get a better sense of what I was seeing so that, you know, if you come across something like this, at least you can react accordingly, whether you want to do it or you don't. Let's look at that first and I'll give you guys kind of the play-by-play. Here I am. I'm just grabbing a box and dropping in all of the vintage Star Wars items I could find. It was 3 Millennium Falcons, a snow speeder, it was an X-Wing, think 3 Y-Wings, 2 slaves, and then the Cloud ship. I don't remember what that's called. It's sort of the dual passenger seat. And I just started putting them in there. There were a couple of other items that I put towards the bottom, but it was just a massive amount. And granted, they were all for parts, but I didn't really care. And then it kind of comes down to what kind of money are you trying to make on a lot like this? And how much was he going to charge me? And if I kind of do the math, even though I had a couple of items at the bottom, I probably paid around $80 to $85 for everything. And in my head, I was thinking, man, if I could get around $300 to $400 for this, that is a huge win for me because it's really not that much work. I didn't have to do any cleaning at all. Simply took some photos, put them up on eBay, and I just sort of let it go. And in my mind, I have to separate how much work is involved to determine whether or not it's worth the purchase in the first place. Is it a new item or used? If it's new, does it have a SKU on it so that I can look it up easily? If it's used, how much work do I have to get my money back? And then how much more work till I'm in the profit zone? And then how much more work until I'm at the point where I said, yes, that's the money I wanted to make in order for me to have done this in the first place. Everyone who's a reseller is gonna be a little bit different when looking at bulk purchases, but as far as I'm concerned, this one was a no-brainer because it was so easy to list. There were so many different comps that I really didn't have to spend too much time. So let's go take a look at the eBay sales. I had 3 local sales that I made, and I only have 1 item that's left in the Star Wars bin, and it's that Cloud ship. And I'm just like sitting on it going, doesn't anyone want that thing? So I'm going to my seller dashboard here, and I'll go into Manage Paid and Shipped Orders, last 90 days, I'll select item title, and then just type in vintage Star Wars. That's the easiest way to pull up those items that I just recently sold. So here, right out of the gate, I sold a slave for $60, 2 Y-Wings for $65. Then I had another slave that sold for $58. I think it was missing just 1 additional piece. And then this next one, I was really surprised by the AT-AT, only 3 legs, missing lots of stuff. That was $75. And then a single Y-Wing sold for $23, so I was really low on that one. And then an X-Wing sold for $35. Something that's really interesting about the Millennium Falcon and being out here in Southern California, I find them all the time. I mean, all of the time. I see them at garage sales, I see them at thrift stores, I see them everywhere. I've gotten one even in a storage locker before. Outside of those 3 that I sold, I have another 4 that are downstairs in the warehouse sitting there right now. I don't mind picking them up, especially if I can flip them for 50 bucks a piece. So we have our eBay sale total right here. We have our local sale total right here. And then we're gonna subtract out all of the shipping, which is right here. We're gonna subtract out all of the fees that I have to pay, which will be right here. And then of course, you have to put in the cost of goods, and a lot of people forget that, and that's gonna be right here. So when you calculate all of that together, the deal ended up netting me this much money. And you gotta think about it and go, really? For some vintage Star Wars parts? Yes, I will take that any day of the week. I'm gonna throw these 2 items that are a part of this bigger lot that I purchased, put it on the cart, and then we'll ship it out. I'll show you how I ship it. This is going out. This is one of 2 Star Wars orders from the weekend. And here is the Star Wars bin. Here's one part of the second order, and here's the second part of the second order. Let's make sure that that gets some proper room. Well, things are a little chaotic here in the land of Tripper. So I'm gonna pack up these 2 vintage Star Wars lots. It is raining in the background, which is really nice. We haven't had rain here in a long time. So nice background music here. This will be obvious to some of you. So for those of you who don't wanna watch how I pack some of this stuff up, just go ahead and skip ahead. But for those of you who have never had exposure to, packing something like this up, I'm gonna show you how to do it. All right, we will start with the slave. Got a box here that doesn't fit. Even if I could pull these sides off, there's no way I would want to force this item into a box like this. So I've got this other box here, and at first glance it looks like it doesn't fit, but when I just turn it slightly sideways, it fits very nicely. Oh my God, it is raining hard! All right, so that's what it's looking like outside right now. Yeah, and I'm getting soaking wet. All right, let's get this thing pad wrapped first. So basically the only thing about the pad wrapping that's important is that I've got the 2 wings, I've got some of the back stuff, because if another box comes in contact with this, you just want there to be a little bit of pressure that could be applied to this, and you don't have to worry about anything cracking. One thing I'm a little bit concerned by is that in this corner here, it's hitting, this plastic piece is hitting on that corner. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt it like this. So the first thing I need to do is get some jacking underneath this, and then let's apply it all the way around. This is a good start. I want to make sure that I get this area covered, and then that should be good. This is now ready for a label. For this particular one, I have one concern that I've got to be careful of, and that's the little plastic pieces on the front. They're already bent, so unfortunately there's really no getting around that, but I can be a little bit careful in how I put them into this box here. First thing I did is I wrapped the front of this because it had those 2 plastic pieces that were sort of bent, and I don't want it to get any worse, so I made sure that I put a little extra protection on the front of these. I'll pad wrap these up. I've got a box. I actually had at the bottom of this box a little bit of this foam, so I'm just gonna leave that in there.
And that's it.
Let go of your feelings, Luke!
That is going to do it for today's episode, folks. Thank you for stopping by and watching a very weird episode of Hunting with Tripler. So I asked, how did I do on this bulk purchase? And the truth is, I did very well. And for the amount of work I put in to get over $250 in profit, I gotta say, it was absolutely worth it. So from the bulk purchase, I only have 2 items that are left. I thought I had one, which was the Cloud City Twin Pod. That's what it's called, by the way. And the other one is I still have the Snow Speeder. So of those 2 items that are left, that's probably another $40 to $50. On top of that, I put in my cost of goods at $100, and there were other items that I had associated with that original purchase. So it was actually only closer to $80, which means that that number, $265 in profit, is gonna probably end up looking like over $300 when it's all said and done. So in the future, folks, if you see vintage Star Wars out there in the wild, if you see it at a thrift store, at a garage sale, at an auction, do not pass it up, because this episode right here proves that you can make money on it. Of course, if the price is right. If you enjoyed this content, give me a thumbs up to let me know you did. If you didn't, definitely hit the thumbs down so I know not to make an episode like this in the future, but I'm hoping I'll get some good reviews. Thank you again. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Take care.